think we're in the movie. I'm gonna put her in the can. I'm gonna put you in for life, you murderer.
Look, ma'am, you got blood on your hands. I'm pretty sure that would make you guilty.
Thank you for sticking around post-credits. I'm your host, Corinne, and today at the table I have my lovely co-host, Ben Staunton. And then with us today, we have our guest, Chad Critelli.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
We were talking before we opened, because this is my first time opening the show, and you were saying that I should pull from wrestling
Yeah.
as like a persona to get into it. Do you have any, could you show me examples of how I would do that?
Yeah, so like wrestling, sometimes they just go in the mic and then they just go for it. So like for you, like, what's up, everybody? I'm Corinne. You know what I'm saying? Like going for it and like not being afraid because, you know, like wrestling fans in general, you know, they love the energy that you put into it. So I think the more energy you put into it, the more I see fans reciprocate, at least in wrestling. Right, because there's this guy named like Jey Uso, and he comes out, and you know he does this thing, and the whole crowd just comes in, and they're all like, it's like powerful, you know, the energy. Like even I got goosebumps, and I haven't watched wrestling in a long time, so definitely some good advice for actors too is watch wrestling, watch how they stage, you know, present themselves.
Well, it's good to have you here. We've seen you here at the studio before. Let's see, what was that show? A Short and Shorter podcast was the one that you were on, and we got to meet you there, and that was one of the ways that I got to know. Then you worked with Corinne, and Corinne works here, so everything's going around in circles. So it's kind of amazing how the world is very small.
Yeah, the film world is really small in a way. Like, we've reconnected. But yeah, there's so many people that you were saying that you knew, and
yeah.
What do you feel about the community of Cleveland film?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a thing called 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or something like that I learned in school, where like you're just like 6 people away from knowing Kevin Bacon, right? Or Will Smith or something like that. So I feel it's a very tight-knit community. However, it is growing, and it's becoming more. I don't know if you've ever seen Almost Famous, but it's coming. Yeah, where it's like the guy, like he's interviewing all these like rockers that are coming up, like Motley Crue and all these other like cool bands, and that's kind of how it's becoming in Cleveland, where like people are like becoming like film rock stars. You know, and I'm definitely seeing the growth of it and the indie come up on it, and it's really cool.
Yeah, if for someone who's just joined the community, has no connections at all, how do they start?
Yeah, some real advice, you go to a 48-hour mixing, right, and you put in, I call it put it in work. You just put in your work, you know, you put in your hours, you put in your due diligence.
For people who don't know, can you explain what the 48 hour is? Because that's how we met.
Yeah, and everybody who don't know, it is it's fun but not at the same time, because you got 48 hours to write, film, direct, cast, everything you can imagine in film industry, but you got to do it in 48 hours, which how I met you, and dang, you did a great job on ours. You know
Thank you.
Yeah, it was definitely, became a huge fan right off rip, so it's good to have a good clean editor sometimes.
So talking about that, I see here on your IMDb page, and I'm sure it's not completely, you know, all of your work or anything, but I see here that you wear many hats, and I think that one of the good things about wearing many hats in the industry, whether it's television or internet, or if you're out there doing film, you get to see what everybody else is doing. So your boots get to hit the same ground as them. So, you know, you're like, I see here you've been a boom operator. You've also been a director. So you're not like, hey, that guy up in the boom operator, he's taking a nap. No, you know what it's like to operate that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the hats that you wear, except or beyond just being director and boom operator?
Yeah, what an excellent question. It's actually how I've really made it in this industry, right? Is not saying no, right? And just saying yes, right? So in film school, they taught us a lot. Like, I'm talking from old school Bolex camera to sound to gaffing, anything you can imagine on a film set, they have taught us, because we still had to do like digital, but it wasn't what it is today, right? You know, it wasn't this cloud system where you can just upload and edit. Like, we had to go back to the Avid station. We had to go and upload, and then we had to make sure it was like DCIP and like all this other stuff. So they taught us all that, and that transition to when I graduated, right? I met Johnny Woo. So I'm gonna name drop, right? Cool guy to know. Key to Cleveland, so sweet, and runs the Asian festival here. But Johnny Woo kind of brought me in on set and was like, hey, the sound guy dropped. Do you want to drop in? And I'm like, yeah, I know how to do sound, right? There's always a little rundown of someone's equipment, right? But take notes if you're doing it or film it. And then from there, I did a great job. That transitioned to another film, right, on sound. Somebody didn't show up in acting, right? And I stepped in to act, and because they were like, hey, you're kind of pretty, go on set. And I was like, okay, you know, this is chubby, like really chubby me. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm like wobbling in on set, right? And I did well, apparently, because then they brought me back to another film, right? Which then led me to like a role in like Cracula, right? Which is now, yeah, that's definitely taken off. And
Yeah, can you describe what that movie is about? I know that a lot of the movies recently you've been working on are a little bit more for mature audiences, so try and keep it as family friendly as possible. But
of course,
tell me about that.
And I actually, you know, I do love family friendly films too. You know what I'm saying? It's just like in the indie industry, like I said, you can't say no to a lot of things that sound interesting. And Dracula drinks drug blood, right, and becomes addicted, right? And I got to play Renfield, right, which was an iconic character, and I was so nervous, right? One, the guy from Skins, what's his name? Tony from Skins. He's a great actor from Britain. He played Renfield, so like I was like, oh no, right? And then they gave me the opportunity. I went more for Dwight Fry, who's one of the ultimate monster movie guys, right? And that look and that vibe. And so far, it's transitioned well to the audiences and the reviewers, so.
My uncle's voice wasn't enough. Master wants French. French dressing. French dressing. Oh, why, like, bitch? Oh, this is gonna be a lot harder than what I thought. Oh.
There is a page called I'm From Cleveland, and they shared our grounds marketing promo where Dracula and Renfield go around Cleveland places, right? Just in character. So we did like the Monster Mash at Corky's, went to Edgewater Beach. So that was fun, right? And then they shared it because, you know, of course, we have to film everything. And that already has like 100,000 views. Like, and it's weird too now. Like I'm going to the gym and someone's like looking at me and they're like, "Aren't you the guy from the Cleveland page?" And I'm like, "No," you know, like because you know you're at the gym, you know. I'm like I'm trying to work out, you know, like it's hard.
You're famous. You can't distance yourself from the fame now, though.
I know.
Now you're going to be like everywhere, and people are going to recognize you. Now you know what like the paparazzi does to people. You're going to end up having your picture taken, and you're going to be just trying to chill in your car, and you're going to be like, what's going on? Why is this happening?
I fear that, like, because, like, I'm goofy, so I have goofy moments. Like, I fear, like, I'm going to do something goofy, and they're going to capture it, and it's going to be all over, like, the tabloids. And not, like, anything goofy. Like, I, like, sometimes, like, I'll wear a white shirt, and, like, I shouldn't. But, you know, I'm like, fresh white tee. Let's go for it. eat a pizza and it just slides in, and then that's when the paparazzi come, you know, and I'm like, oh man.
Will that be the pepperonis?
Yeah, or like the chicken.
Instead of the paparazzi, it'll be the pepperoni. That's easy for me to say. How about if I screw that up like 6 times? But that should stay in because, you know, this is really how it is.
Yeah, no, it's real. And that's the one thing I do want to promote in this industry is just keeping it real, you know. And watch it out for the paparazzi.
The paparazzi. See, there you got it. You got it perfectly. So I should have just let you say it.
No.
So, could you tell me about the other films as well that you're working on or just recently came out?
Yeah, so I just wrapped a film called T-rexorcist, right?
I love the name, though.
Yeah, and this is a little bit more of the family friendly. It has the guy who did the Puppet Master for the stop motion.
Oh.
Yeah, and what's weird about this is that we had a giant green screen and we had to act, right? With this giant green screen that was like up. And you're like, you know, trying to get in the mood, and they're like, okay, this is the T-Rex. And you're like, that doesn't look like a T-Rex. So, like, I had to really, like, play pretend, you know, like, in a car or something like that, you know, and, yeah, it was fun. It was fun, because then you got to, like, be bold and wild with it, because it's going to the green screen on cuts.
Sure.
And so that's stop motion?
Yeah, it was stop motion. So, like...
That's impressive. I want to check that out.
Yeah, and like I said, the guy who did the Puppet Master is like one of the legends, right? And for him to get that, an indie guy like Brad Twig to get that on set, is amazing, you know. And for him willing to do that was cool for him.
So you got to do green screen with that. What's one place if you could go anywhere in the world to do film and be on set? Where would you go?
Ooh, good question. You guys ever seen White Lotus?
Mm-hmm.
No, I haven't.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen White Lotus, but I have heard a lot about it.
So like when they cut to these like locations that they're filming in. So like one's Thailand, one's Hawaii, and the other one's like maybe a cruise, right? I believe, or maybe it was on a boat or something. So like anywhere where White Lotus films, I am in, right? It looks beautiful. And it's just about, White Lotus is really interesting, actually, and I hope kids learn from this. I know it's not an adult-appropriate show, but, like, the way they write it, right, is very, nothing happens for, like, 8 episodes. But, like, you're glued into it because it, like, it's telling you something's about to happen, right? And you're like, well, what's about to happen? Now you got to find out to the next episode. Sort of like the old Dragon Ball Z, where you like kept you like keeping going back. So a lot of happen in just a little space. So definitely anywhere White Lotus.
So you're telling us that you are doing a little bit of writing. And I know a lot of your other things, I feel like when it comes to doing indie, a lot of the first films are horror and things like that. That's how I got my start too.
Yeah.
But you're going to do a adult comedy soon?
Yeah. Actually, good question as well. So horror is great and all, right? But then like you got to spend money on makeup, right? And if you think about it too, like there's a lot of like indie people coming out. Like you got Stalker Jane, Meet the Movie. I mean, they're still spending $100,000. Like, I bought a home. So anybody who homeowners know, I know they're y'all watching, right? Like, you got, like, windows to fix. That's, like, $4,000. Like, a door is, like, $900. And you think it's going to be, like, $200. No, doors are expensive. Mm-hmm. So I was like, what can I do to really reach an audience? And I was like, a comedy, right? And I was like, what haven't we seen in a little bit? I was like, American Pie, right? And I was like, but, like, I've always wanted to do a Christmas film. So, like, what if I set it in Christmas? And then from there, I just started writing, and I came up with Figgy Pudding, right? Because it's kind of like American Pie, but Figgy Pudding and the Christmas twist to it, right? So,
and you're going to be the lead in that?
Yeah, I'm going to be the lead. I'm really going out of my comfort zone, right? Because, you know, I like more like I'm a cartoon guy, right? I like Adventure Time, like regular show, comics, like stuff like that. And like I like to keep my audience wide as much as possible, right? I mean, yeah, I'm a little rock starry, but you know, I do think about that, right? When I like do go out and I write. But that being said, you know, I couldn't miss out on the opportunity to write about a Figgy Pudding. So, And then that's just about me trying to meet all the different types of girls before Christmas. And if I don't, then I might have to go to the Rainbow Bridge, right? So that's pretty much what it's about. And it's me exploring, different type of people and different types of situations in Cleveland, Ohio, in the winter.
So how do you keep yourself from, I know it's hard for some people, how do you keep yourself from writing only for yourself?
You get a partner, right? Like, there's no LeBron James in this industry, right? Like, I don't care if you're Scorsese right now, like a reincarnation of him, right? Like, you're not going to do it by yourself, right? And like you said, there's a lot of hats to be ran in film,
Sure.
right? I mean, you can't run sound, camera. I mean, you can, but is that sustainable, right? Same thing with writing, right? You could write all these great concepts and everything, but can you compete with AI? Two brains can, but I think one, right, or something like that, where you could be like creative, or having like a different partner that you trust that you could bounce your creative ideas on, and have him like, I say my analogy, right, is like a plane, right? There's two people running a plane, right? You got the pilot and the co-pilot. Sometimes you have to switch off, and I think that works a lot for creativity and having that little switch off.
Yeah, and I think writing for things that are only funny to you, that happens a lot when you first start out in a television production or film or whatever, and you put that first thing together, you shoot it, and then you also you edit it yourself and do all that, and there's so much stuff that should have been on the cutting room floor. But in reality, what happens is it's a 20-minute bore fest for everybody. You're laughing, your friends are laughing, everything, and you show it to somebody else. You're like, hey, why don't you come watch my stuff? And they're like,
it's not.
You're like,
funny.
how was it? And they're like, it was good. It was all right. They don't want to hurt your feelings, but in reality, when you go back and you look at it after your career has got going and some things, you're like, man,
Ooh, what did I write?
that was really bad. That's good for me. I liked it, but nobody else would like it. So it is important for me to understand how, from a writer's point of view, how you're able to pull out and get people interested in what you're interested in, and how to touch them on more levels than just the one level. So thanks for sharing that with everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And, certain jokes hit different for different audiences, right? So I learned that from Cracula. So we had 2 premieres, both sold out, right? The Morgantown, West Virginia one laughed a little bit at different jokes versus the Cleveland laughed at the other jokes. So it was like, how do we base on like what is funny and what's not, And it kind of made me think and open up as a writer as well, like, hey, certain jokes are going to hit with certain audiences, and
Sure.
you either got to take it or leave it, move on, and keep writing.
Yeah, I feel like the same thing can apply to the concept of sometimes the directors want to really also be the editor. But I sometimes feel like when you separate them, especially when the editor is not there during the filming, because you kind of get this bias when you're there for the filming. You're like, wow, this shot took 3 hours. It's so good, but in reality, it could not be good. And that person on the outside who's editing is viewing things in a more outside perspective, like an audience member. So I feel like when you talk and you get 2 perspectives, I feel like you can kind of make something better in terms of just having someone who's been on the whole project all the way through. They might not be able to look past and outside of those rose-colored glasses and see what other people see.
Yeah, and that's actually a great point that you bring up too. Also, like, just moving on too, and like allowing your content to be shared, right? An editor will get it done, right? Sometimes you'll sit there and just hover over like a line or an edit.
Because it's your baby, it's your passion project, but sometimes you have to trust other people too.
Yeah, you got to feed the baby birds, man. You got to keep feeding out content, and if you don't, right, this world will pass you over, and that's real game right now, right? Just right now, we need and consume content at an extreme rate, right? And the more content you push, the more push you'll get. So trust your editors. That's a PSA. Trust your editors.
Now, you were talking earlier about was it the 48-hour project? How do people find out more information about that? Like you said, well, go and get into these groups, these bunkers, and work with these people. You know, where the sweat is really pouring, and you know the room needs to be aired out. Those people that you want to work with, how do you get in touch with them? I mean, I wouldn't know. Hey, just Google this or what?
Actually, that's another great question too. Yeah, so you have to have some type of social media, right? I hate to say it, you know, and as much as I hate social media, just like the kind of negativity, sometimes it rings or it gives you a cloud, right? If you're on it too much, or you get the scrolling of doom, right? You know, I've been trying to really like avoid that, but at the same time is that you have to connect with people in this industry. I mean, you could be an introvert, right? But then again, how would you meet Mary and then meet me and then be in this thing if you didn't reach out?
Yeah. Well, alternatively, I didn't reach out through social media. I think in terms like you can connect with people, but you should do it in a mix of social media and in real life. I had gone out and I was at the Haunted Hotel Film Festival.
Yeah.
So a lot of times 48 Hour will have booths at different festivals. You can usually find people. So online, but you can also find booths. And they had sign-up forms right there at the booth. And just some people, just strangers I didn't know, saw me talking to the guy at 48 Hour and immediately pulled me off to the side, be like, hey, we have a team for you to join. You can join our team. And I joined the team. And I did multiple projects with them. And so a lot of times it's being more extroverted.
Yes.
Willing to say yes if that's like what you're able to do business-wise at the time.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, really being open to connecting with people.
Yeah. Both like in person and externally through social media. I do both, right? Just because, you know, even though sometimes it does wear you out, I think just even one follow could really change, you know, your game, you know?
But yeah, I think usually there's the 48 Hour website and...
Yeah, there's groups. There's Facebook groups, right? And those groups will share like, hey, looking for an editor, or hey, looking for a gaffer, right? And from there, hey, looking for some background extras, right? And if you reach out to them and not afraid to really work and not get paid, then that would be the first move I would make. And then from there, it really, like you said, goes around in circles. You know, you start the circle that's going to come around, and you're going to have your own team and meet another person, you know?
How many have you done?
I think like at least 12, right?
You want to
Every
look at your
year.
IMDb? I printed it off here if you need.
Yeah,
No, I don't know.
at least
Let's take a
12.
look around and see what else you've done. So,
Man, yeah.
just in case you've forgotten, because there's so many. So.
Yeah, there's even stuff that I don't even have credit for, because I started off with a 48 too, with the Earhart brothers.
That's one.
That's one. There's other ones.
Whisper in the Woods.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys tell us about that? Because you both worked on that.
That aired on the channel.
Yeah, that was during our marathon last year at Halloween. Ooh. Well, I guess it'd be 20. Just in case you're hearing this 150,000 years from now, long after we're gone, it would have been the 2024 Halloween marathon right here on Brunswick Area Television. Since you both worked on it, why don't you give us a little insight on what you did on Whisper in the Woods?
Yeah, well, shout out Fairview for letting us film in that creepy park right by the school, right? But yeah, it was a cold experience, right? It was late night. It was like 2 when we finished. It was supposed to be an hour, 2 hour shoot, turned into 4 to 6. But nonetheless, I was actually looking at BTS from that, and it was just a good time. Right, and it's really the best thing about film is having a good time, and especially with your buddies, or you know, after, you know, or even going to the short and seeing it premiere on this. Right, that's so cool to know that somebody watched it here, you know, and tuned in and hopefully got scared, you know.
Yeah, for this one, I wasn't editing on scene because it would have been hard because it was in the park. Our previous one we worked on, I was editing while they were still filming, so I was able to kind of get a head start. But this one, I believe Mary, she delivered it to me right early in the morning, so she dropped it off, and then it was just me. So they got all of the party hangout late night time, and then I got being by myself late all day time. But that was good, and it was really cool. And it's one of those experiences like editing when you weren't there for the filming. But I think it came together really well, and talking to them and still getting their opinion while I'm so far away, and making it work, and getting the special effects that they had wanted to work with what they had shot. So I do think it came together pretty well.
Yeah, the one I like is Blood on Your Hands, the one we did. That one was probably my favorite, the one where you edited. Just because, horror I've seen a lot, but I haven't seen a detective, who talks like this in a while,
Pipe down, you murderous broad.
That was my concept idea, but I was like, I'm not gonna write it, but here's my idea.
I love it, the old detectives.
The idea was basically they get sucked into a TV and go into an old detective film noir, because with 48 Hour, I don't think we'd explained, but you get a genre and you get a prop, and then you get a quote you have to say. So those are some of the things you have to include. So for that, our genre was film noir, and our prop was a tomato. So
So it's kind of like method acting in a way. They give you some things to work with. It's not just your idea. It's you have to work around. It's kind of like one of those cooking shows where they're like, hey, you get I don't know, M&Ms, and you got to figure out how to make it into something delicious. No, I don't make
exactly
M&Ms into that. Yes.
Yeah, exactly what it is, right? And the clock starts right when they give you your prompt, right? So
yeah, I like coming up with the ideas. There was like a ton of different ideas, but nothing was clicking. But I guess they thought that idea was pretty good. So
It was.
I'm happy that I got to see my idea come to life
It
through
was.
someone else's writing.
Yeah, it was so clean too. I don't know if you guys watch it, Blood on Your Hands. It's one of the cleaner videos. It's like you get the old school black and white. If you're a James Cagney fan or anything that the mobster era back then, it's very like that, right? It's definitely like a mockumentary. Not like a mock of it, but it's like.
It's showing tribute,
right?
Yeah.
And I miss that kind of acting too. Like everything's so real now. And I'm like. Let's give love to some tropes here too.
It's nice to be able to enjoy something on a level that's beyond you. Maybe like we said maybe before, outside your comfort zone. It's something that you may say as a director, I would never use a tomato in my movie. I hate tomatoes. I like tomato sauce. I like ketchup, but I don't like raw tomatoes. Now I got to stick a tomato in there. Hey, you come out of that comfort zone. Use that tomato.
Yeah,
that's all there is to it.
Yeah, and challenge you to be creative on the spot, right? Because that's filmmaking a lot. Is being creative right on the spot, right?
Or problem solving right on the spot. Something doesn't go right, like you lose location.
It never goes right. Especially in Cleveland with the weather. do not plan outdoor shoots, just always have a backup plan is what I'm saying if you're going to plan an outdoor shoot.
Yeah, do you have any parting advice or words of wisdom for our viewers?
Yeah. Be bold, be different, and be kind, and rewind.
One of the things that I've learned from this show is if you don't have social media and you want someone to recognize you, you either have to talk very loudly at an event where people get together and congregate where they do kind of film work and everything else. Or, and I've told Tom, who runs a facility here many times over, just get a t-shirt and put on it what you need. So if you need it, if you have a band and you're looking for a drummer, you're looking for, a guitar player, write it on there. We have a band and we're looking for, and then just mark them off as you don't need them anymore. So you're like, if you're a good editor or you're good at running camera, you want to be a gaffer or whatever. I'm a gaffer. And I don't need money. Just put me on your 48-hour project.
I would hire somebody. I would appreciate the hustle. I'd be like, dude, this person's hustling.
That's how you get on Chad's project.
Yeah, honestly, if you come up and we're at some type of event and I want to be an actor, I will consider you in my next script.
Well, and since you work on making T-shirts and stuff out of reclaimed things that you were telling us earlier, maybe that's your gig is you start making T-shirts for people who message you and say, I need a T-shirt that says I'm good at this, hire me.
Yeah.
And then you can start making those for them. And it's an outreach program.
Yeah, doing a little character with them too. That'd be cool. Hire a character, and you can really have a little business, and it's their little phase, but they're tuned out, like, you know, like, I need to edit.
Since I'm not
like
trying to
crazy
get
hair because you're up all night, you don't sleep, you know, versus the gaffers.
and I'm not trying to get Chad a side hustle, nor am I saying that, you know, M&M's is sponsoring us. But if M&M's wants to send M&M's to Brunswick area television for us to share with our local producers, we'll take them.
Yeah, I give a lot of my merch for free. Actually, I don't really make any profit. It's more just like, hey, it's a cool hoodie, man, and I hope somebody rocks it. You know.
Nice.
What about you? You got any parts as a great editor you are? Give some props. Give some parting words.
I guess, yeah, in terms of circling back to what we were saying about connecting. Yeah, just do your best to reach out to people and I don't know.
Like that connection.
Yeah, I mean,
Come on, this is
honestly.
WWE now. Come on. Spout it out. Let's hear it.
Okay.
What's your advice?
You just gotta go out there and talk to people and do your best and just give it your all. And I can't. You close it. I opened, you close
You
it.
can always do bad math, right? So that was a big promo, right? Where he's like, if you give 20% of this and 60% of this and 80% of this and 100% of this, you're 200% away from winning. You know what I'm saying? Or something like
There you
that,
go.
too. So don't be afraid to do that. But no, yeah, she's 100% right. Put yourself out there.
But as
Yeah.
you could tell, I am very classically an editor stereotype. Not
Yeah.
And don't forget to say like, oh yeah, like at the end of it or something like that. Because that really puts it home. Like that's what hammers it home is that, yeah, that's what we're doing.
There's an LA Knight guy who says that. He just says, yeah, at the end. And everybody's just like, yeah, with him. You know, and it's so cool.
Peanut brittle. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now I want peanut bread, you know? Yeah.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to us. If you want to find out some more information about Brunswick Area Television, you can visit our Facebook page or you can email us at bat@brunswick.oh.us. You can give us a call, 330-220-1726. For Corinne, and you got to check out Chad, you know, see his stuff out there. It's out in the world. It's being shared, and his comedy's coming out, so you're going to want to check that out too. So, hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for
you.
listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Chad.
Thank you. You guys killed it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Might have to like tell the police. You know, we have a murder
Uh-oh.
murder charge here.
Not a murder. Murderer's in the building. What?